Aloha, everybody. Welcome to the Aloha Friday show with the Sandwich Island Social Network. My name is Kamaka Brown, and thank you so much for joining us and being with us as we do every Aloha Friday. We have interesting guests, we have great conversations, and all of our guests have a connection with the Aina, with Hawaii, and today is no exception. We do have a great guest. The Sandwich Island Social Network actually is a 401c3 nonprofit organization that supports Hawaiians and Hawaiians at heart away from their island home. And on the lower right-hand side of your screen, you'll see sandislands.org. That's where you can go to find out more information about the work that we do and the various different activities that we are involved with here in Southern California. Right now, I'm excited about having this young man on our Aloha Friday show. He has such an interesting background and many great stories to tell. And I would love it if you would welcome on board right now on our Aloha Friday show. And with a great, Ronald. Hey, we were waiting for the applause. That's right. My goodness, Brian Viloria. What's up, Brian?
Hello, Kamaka. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you. And that applause came from all our many hoonies that are sitting up in the trees behind me. You know, they're always interested. And by the way, the many hoonies, okay, are very important to our show because they always start the show. They want to blow what I call the Portuguese conch shell to welcome our guests. So here's two. Okay, here's the first one. That's the first Portuguese conch shell, okay? And here's the second one. There you go. Now you've been officially welcomed by the Portuguese in the... That's all. Brian is going, what the heck have I gotten myself into?
I watched some of the podcasts and I was like, oh, this seems fun.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for accepting the invitation, Brian. And I've had the wonderful opportunity to read all about you, Google all about you, and our friends can do that too. You can put Brian Viloria in Google or whatever search engine, and oh my goodness, all of your career fights and all of the things that you've done are there. And I thought we'd talk about maybe things that people really cannot find online in terms of what you're doing and the things that you enjoy. And you coming from Waipahu, local boy, just like I'm from Oahu as well. I live out in the country, North Shore. You come from the I guess is that the west side? I guess it's the west side. They call it west side.
Oh yeah, well, West Central West, yeah.
Central West.
Plantation places, yeah. Plantation.
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
they have the sugar canes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love to talk about food, man, and I know you live now here in Southern California, and you go to Vegas fairly often for fights, and that's where a lot of the fights do go on. So I'm just going to say, you and I, we don't want to drive, man, so we fly into Vegas. A car comes for us. We're hungry, and I say to you, Brian, you come to Vegas a lot more than I do. Where we go and eat, Brian?
I gotta take you to a great Hawaiian barbecue place there called Uncle Frank's. They open you with open arms. Uncle Frank over there cooks up some mean ginger chicken, everything is good. So lao there. So when you get a chance, a bit of Hawaii. I mean, a lot of places they call it the ninth island for a big reason. Yeah. Everybody out there in Hawaii is now living. Was from Hawaii, now living in Vegas, and because of that, a lot of restaurants are popping up. But one of my favorites, Uncle Frank's.
So shout out to Uncle Frank's, man. Uncle Frank's is UNCO.
UNCO, yeah, UNKO.
UNKO, Uncle.
On South Jones Boulevard, yeah, 7780.
Shout out to Uncle
South
Frank's.
Jones Boulevard.
Okay, so you know what, man?
Like a whole bunch of people going into his restaurants.
Yeah. I know last time I was there, we had to check out the new zips, the new zippies over there. And
Oh yeah, yeah. You don't gotta fly all the way to Hawaii now. You just go to Vegas.
yeah, yeah.
There's the hippies out there. So one of the things I usually go to when I fly out to fly back home, um, is always go to Zippies or Taniokas or go to Foodland and
Ooh,
some poke.
Taniokas.
Yeah,
And
this
Foodland,
is my experience.
Foodland has killers poke selections, man. It's like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. You know, a lot. So really good, and always try to get down, grab some, maybe like a bucket or a couple pounds, take it home, and just grind on that because can't find those type of pokés out here at in
I know,
San Diego.
I
I
know.
think the closest one I can think of is Fish King in Glendale. Have
Okay.
you been in that one?
No, no.
When you get a chance, check it out. It's
Fish,
called Fish King.
Fish King. Okay.
Yeah, in Glendale.
You know, sometimes I walk into this poke place, and as soon as you walk in, you smell the fish, right? It smells really fishy, you know,
Yeah,
and you just go, uh, because fresh fish doesn't really have a smell, man. You
it
know,
really does. Yeah,
it doesn't, right? And so,
not much taste to it too. You know,
exactly,
the
exactly. But
sauce, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah,
so a lot of these places have been just using poke as to just get people in there. But us guys know what real poke is all about
yeah,
because we come from the islands. Me, I just walk in, I look what they have, I give the sniff test, I walk right out. It's like, I
yeah.
don't think so.
You're like, yeah,
Can I help you, sir?
not
No,
fresh.
no, no. See you. Thank you very much.
Half of the times, like I knew this was frozen. That like a
Yeah,
couple days now.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
fresh.
yeah. The bug is sitting in
Yeah,
about that much, blood or liquid sitting in that cat. It's going,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
It's not,
think so. I don't think so.
but a lot of great ones. Yeah, I go to here, Fish King. I try to live like those little poke spots, but poke bowl places, but it doesn't really give you the same taste as the island does. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Foodland or in like my one of my favorite in Taniokas.
Tanioka's solid in Tanioka's, man.
Yeah.
So let me see. We get Uncle Marty Burns. He says, Aloha Friday, everyone. Marty Burns is a retired high school football coach living right here in Southern California, one of
Oh,
our ohana. So welcome,
hello,
Marty.
Uncle.
And let's see. C Honda is one of our regulars. Hey, C. He says, welcome, Brian.
AC.
Yeah.
It's
And
great
who
to be here.
else? Yeah, let me see. The Kay Bennett on the West Wing of the Hollies. She is monitoring the show, making sure everything is good. She's saying aloha.
Okay. Aloha.
Um, and Kay Bennett says, it's been 30 years since I've had good ginger chicken. Ooh.
That's a very yeah. Yeah, it's a big reason now to go to Vegas, go see Uncle Frank's.
Ah, ginger
Check it out.
chicken is that cold chicken with that nice I guess it's a lot of what is it? They use Chinese parsley on top and then
Yeah.
ooh, that's good
Uh,
stuff. Good stuff.
maybe make one tonight. Okay.
Yeah. Here's Marty.
Very
Marty says,
good.
"I'm ready to make the 4-hour drive and go to Uncle Frank's." Marty said he's
Pick
ready
it
to
up.
drive to Vegas.
All of a sudden, it's 4 hours. It used to be 3 hours. They're
Yeah.
making the speed the bullet train, right?
They've
They
been
said that's
talking about that. Be nice if they do, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Oh man.
be crazy. They like
Talking
cut the commute time in half.
talking about walking into pokey places. She goes, "We walk in, we smell, we out."
Yeah, no test. If it doesn't pass it, you gotta go. You gotta leave.
um, Kay goes,
Fresh
Marty.
test.
Marty and I are gonna drive to Uncle's. There you go. They're gonna hit it. They're gonna hit it.
Yeah, gotta check it out. Let me know. Say
So
hi. Tell them I sent you guys there.
we can hey, tell him Brian Viloria sent you guys, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tell me, Uncle. Come here because Brian said
Brian said, "Come over, man."
the
Um,
Hawaiian punch discount.
the Hawaiian Punch discount. So, hey, Brian, tell me what it was like growing up in Waipahu when you was a kid.
It was fun. It was a family. It was tight knit family.
Hmm.
I have my mom, my dad. We used to always we all lived in one room with my cousins, um, who's one of the senators now for the state of Hawaii. and we it was for me it was great, also tough because I was also raised in the Philippines my first 5 years of my life, so I didn't
Hmm.
really speak the language at first. Went to second language classes, ESL classes in elementary school, but I was getting picked on too. Different language, couldn't say anything. So I think it was one of the reasons why my dad got me into boxing or combat sports in general, because judo was also my first sport that I did before I did
Oh,
boxing.
okay.
Oh, my light
Oh,
turned up. Hold on.
oh.
Yeah, like that. Gotta save electricity
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it was I was getting picked on, a little bullied here and there. My little brother used to bully me too, which used to always take my food. My brother was like a little bigger than me, which I didn't know I had one until I moved back from the Philippines to Hawaii. I didn't know I had a
Oh,
brother because we were kind of raised up separately. Because my dad was still trying to get his green card and trying to get naturalized before. And I think for me, for them, it was easier for them to have my grandparents raise me as a kid because I was their first child, and it was kind of tough for them to like get themselves grounded in a different country. Yeah,
mm,
so
yeah.
that was the reason why I was there. But then my brother was born there in Hawaii, and then when I came back at 5 years old, not only speak the language, but I quickly learned, got adapted, started my boxing and my judo, then my boxing right after, and then after that it was just fun. I was just having blast. Growing up, going to school, Apollo Elementary School, went to Apollo Intermediate, and then graduated Apollo High School back in 1998. So,
So all along you were boxing, even though you going to school. I mean, after school
yeah,
you were going to the gyms and
I
um,
would always walk to the gym
mm,
um, after school in elementary school. I would walk. It was, I think, almost like 2 miles, 2.5 miles from going to Apollo Rec Center or from my school to Apollo Rec Center. High school was literally like down the street from there, so
mm,
I made a commute a little bit better. But I would spend my days doing my homework in the ring. I would fall asleep. They had a couch right by the gym, by the ring. And my first coach was Al Silva, who also trained Andy Ganigan and
mm,
Jesus Salud. So those were my idols. I looked up to them when I was training in boxing. But I used to sleep on the couch there. I would do my workout, spend my whole day there until my parents finished work, and they would come pick me up and then take me home. So I literally after school I would always spend most of my days in the boxing gym.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you put in the work, man. You put in the work, um, and that whole progression of winning Golden Gloves and all of that coming up. Then you find yourself in Sydney, Australia. Um, could you
It
ever
was
imagine?
tough. It was tough
Huh?
getting fights. Growing up, and then I was winning so much fights. It was tough getting fights. I was always winning on walkovers, or people would just pull their fighter out, and like so. It was they had U.S. the Olympic Education or the Olympic Center had this program for athletes that was excelling well in their sport, and so they was giving out scholarships. So around 14, 15, when I first won my Junior Olympics title, which I think I was the first kid from Hawaii to win a Junior Olympic national title for the sport of boxing. I won that back in '94 and '95.
Hmm.
I won it back to back, and that's when the U.S. Olympic Education Center got caught their eyes on me and gave me a full scholarship. But then I was like, I want to stay here in Hawaii, live it out long until I graduate with my friends, because at that time they wanted me to take me when I was like freshman in high school and then put me into Michigan.
Wow.
But yeah, so and I remember talking to my dad and my mom, like, I actually just want to be a kid a little longer. I didn't want to transfer, and I want to just graduate my friends. So I waited. Already at that time, I already knew where I was going. So everybody's like trying to figure out what college they're going to and filling out college forms and stuff. I already knew I was going to go to Michigan for the Olympic Education Center.
Hmm.
So, but I just needed to graduate. And in between then, every summer I would go fight nationals in Michigan, and then Colorado Springs, where the Olympic Training Center is at. So
how are you adjusting now? I mean, you you pulled out of Waipahu, and then boom, you find yourself in Michigan. Um, what kind of adjustment did it take on your part, man? On culture,
I wasn't going.
lifestyle.
I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't after I graduated high school.
Hmm.
They gave me the opportunity to do it
Yeah.
early at 14 when I was a freshman. But I was like, I didn't want to have to start off a new set of friends and new set of school and
Right.
leaving my family, right? Um, because they wanted me to train already for like becoming an Olympian at that time. And so I was
Mm.
like, nah, I'm gonna stay in Hawaii for a little bit longer. I want to graduate with my friends before I make that jump. So, but then I would go there every summer to do the nationals,
Got it.
and every year I used to go there. Just like, hey, when are you gonna take the program? We want you to come to the program. I'm like, wait till I graduate. I want to graduate in Hawaii first, and then I'll go. So as
So
soon as I,
every
right,
summer you're going to Michigan, so you're kind of getting a little taste every summer of what that whole
yeah, yeah,
place is like. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So
All right.
I already knew what was outside of the island life,
Hmm.
and what was waiting for me after I graduated. So I'm like, okay, I can get used to this. It's kind of different, There's no rice. I remember looking for like, what's the sticky rice? What's this pilaf rice? I think trying to eat
Uncle
it.
Ben's long grain rice. Like,
Yeah, I was like, what is this? So it was hard for me to get adjusted at first. I
yeah.
remember I walked my graduation, and 3 4 days later, I flew to Michigan already. It
Wow.
was getting cold too. I remember I was in my surf shorts. I had my slippers on, and then the guy's like, "Oh, this is gonna be a cold winter, bro. I think you should get like thermal underwear." I'm like, "What is that thermal underwear?" I never heard of thermal underwear before, so I found out really quick what the thermal underwear was. I thought you had to plug it in somewhere, thermal
Yeah,
somewhere. Like, yeah,
yeah,
plug it in. Like, how do you walk around? You gotta. I'm like, no, yeah, it was like long johns, and
yeah,
but I remember going to Kmart at that time when Kmart still it wasn't
yeah.
it wasn't go out of business yet. I got like a half a dozen thermal underwears on, and found out that thick jacket was your best friend, and I found out about heaters and stuff. So it was fun. That was a big shock to me.
Yeah, so you had to put your slippers up on vacation, man. You gotta wear.
But that was
Forget
it.
about
My first winter break, I came back home, and I was so pale because, mind you, we're running at like -20 below zero outside in Michigan, and had it was the Great Lakes, so when the winds blew, oh my God, it was like so cold. And I remember one morning, a coach woke us up early in the morning, and they're like, "Time to run, guys!" And on the TV, it was like, "Oh, everything's closed down, school's gone," -20 with there's a blizzard that's coming in, and coach like, "Go run." I'm like, "What? Trying to kill us?" So we ran. I ran with like Jermaine Taylor and a couple of the guys that made it to the Olympic in 2000. And we were like, I remember running that cold. One of my teammates took like 8 steps, turned around, hid behind the car, wait for the coach to leave, and then ran right back into his row. I'm like, you freaking guy, you cheating. I mean, he probably
Uh,
was a smart one, but that was the first time I had to run in snow boots too. So
wow.
for finishing up that run, my
Yeah.
face felt like it was frozen. I had all these frostbites on my chin, and I remember my skull cap was like it was hard, it was solid, it was crazy. And then
Wow.
I came back to Hawaii. I was pale. My friends were like, "Oh, vampire, go to the
Vampire.
beach." I'm like,
Oh,
"Oh, you're so
vampire.
white. You too pale. You gotta go to the beach." So I went to the beach for like a couple of days and got my color back.
Get your
So
color back. Get your brown back,
yeah,
man. Yeah, yeah,
got my brown back. As white
yeah.
as with a piece of paper.
Here's a friend of mine, Robert Agnew. He's a musician, and he's from Oahu. He goes, "I never used to go to Waipahu. Too much cops at the chicken fight." What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, that's true. That's true. Chicken fight is always getting raided.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are full on business, man, and all the vendors set up with food and stuff, and
yeah,
everything was on wheels because as soon as the lookout said some was coming through the cane field, everybody could pack up and leave fast, yeah. But
yeah.
oh yeah, oh my goodness. Bobby Agnew, you brought back some silly memories of going to chicken fights, man. I tell you.
I
Um,
know. I
there's
grew up on a chicken farm.
oh, you on a
My
chicken farm?
grandfather, my grandfather used to raise a lot of fighting chickens,
Yeah,
fighting cock, for derbies, and he used to help supply because in the Philippines it was a national sport. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
they used to be on TV and everything. So, whoa. So he used to breed them. He used to breed a lot of champion
Oh,
chickens, and I used to watch my uncles, my dad's brothers, train the chicken.
hmm.
So they used to do like leg warm ups, and then I
Wow,
remember them sparring. No, seriously, they
wow.
spar the chickens
Yeah,
with the cockfights, and they spar. And they had gloves for the blade, the blade on their
yeah,
feet,
yeah.
and they would spar them every once in a while. And every morning, my dad used to complain about this all the time. He used to wash all the chicken bowls before you go to school, so you'll get up at 3:30 in the morning and wash like imagine hundreds of chickens. So that was pretty much my upbringing. I remember getting
Wow.
Ruby waking up every morning, yeah, with like 60 cocks crowing. Like, oh man, it's like the natural alarm clock. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I was when I go back home, I stay with some friends out on Haleiwa side, and 4:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So so he tell me, "Hey, I'm so sorry about the chickens, man," but I said, "You know what? That takes me back to small kid time. That's like a rooster serenade, man. I don't care. I just go right back to
Yeah.
sleep. I
Same
used to,
here.
right?"
It brings me back to my childhood days. I used to love
Uh,
watching them sparring and stuff. They used to do like movements too. Some of the good like fighting chickens, they used to have like this head movement, like they'll bob and weave,
oh,
and they'll
really?
attack on angles. Yeah. No, seriously, they don't just go.
Wow.
They're really like very methodical about their approach to their fights, kind of like
Interesting.
boxers.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wow. Wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow. Um,
So it was that was crazy.
that's crazy, man. I never knew that about chicken fighting. And there's a technique and
Yeah,
there's
like
some
each chicken has their own kind of like their style too. One of like very like aggressive. Other ones like very they're simplified their approach, or kind of like they move to the side first, or they let you attack and they counter you. So if you watch it enough, you're like, oh, that I like that one. That was like Mayweather. Oh,
yeah,
that was
yeah.
like Mike Tyson. That
I,
that chicken.
I was just gonna say, bro, incorporate any of those moves in your style of boxing. I mean, in
Yeah,
terms of what you see, too,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Interesting, interesting
yeah.
stuff.
Pretty cool.
Um, uh, hey, Kay Bennett says, did you learn a lot of techniques from the Roosters? Yeah, I know. It's like,
Yeah, you pretty much. Yeah, you do.
yeah,
The training was great. Just the side to side, how to attack on different angles.
hmm,
Your 90-degree angle. You gotta like let them wear themselves out first, and then go in for the attack. Kind of like the rooster rope a dope.
yeah, yeah. That's a term, right? That came about with
Yeah,
Muhammad Ali, the rope-a-dope, man.
yeah.
My goodness. So you already said that some of your um, influences. You said you were looking up to people like Andy Gannigan, people like Jesus Salud. Um, did they give you any guidance, or what are some of the things you remember they said to you that you used coming
Man, a
up as a
lot.
boxer?
They
Yeah.
were they were pretty much my mentors growing up. Andy Gannigan used to love teaching me how to hit the body shot. He was, I think, in the Ring Magazine top 100 hardest hitter.
Ooh.
Andy Gannigan was on that list, and he knocked down our Alexis Arguello when he fought him, which was a great fight. Uh, but he taught me how to hit the body shots. Breaking the body down, how to get into that position, and Jesus was always there. He still is there for me too. He never always asks me, always tells me the type of things you have to uh, look forward to, or how to approach the sport of boxing. So kind of was there for me when I needed, when I had some questions for him too. So Uncle Jesus, Uncle Andy was very important to my upgrading in terms of getting to where I am today, in my life or in the sport. So
Wow. So he was known as the Hawaiian Punch, and the Jesus Salud was known
yeah.
as the Hawaiian Punch, and it was passed on to him from Andy Gannigan. Was Andy Gannigan the
Um,
first, or
I
no?
think everybody that came out of Hawaii at some point was named Hawaiian Punch,
Hawaiian
and I
Punch.
remember Benny Agbayani, who was playing for the Mets. Did he play for the Mets? Yeah, for the Mets was called the Hawaiian Punch at one
Hawaiian
point.
Punch. Okay.
I
All
don't
right.
know if Shane Victorino had the same thing, but um, it was always like something. Yeah, everybody knows Hawaiian Punch is a drink,
Right.
but for me, I feel like not only Jesus brought it down when I first turned professional, gave me that name, but also the people pretty much gave me the name as an amateur fighter.
Hmm.
So when I was going to the nationals, it was two names that they gave me. It was Killer B, um, my USOEC or NMU stablemates named me, and then it was Hawaiian Punch, where a lot of the people that was watching me just automatically just called me Hawaiian Punch.
Yeah.
So yeah, and my lights keep turning off.
It's okay.
Yeah, lights
And then
out.
lights out. Or you hope that lights out. That's not what you want to see as a boxer. Lord of the flyweights. I saw a note over here that Brian Viloria, the Lord of the flyweights.
Yeah,
Very
at one point I unified the world titles at flyweight division, light flyweight division,
wow.
became a world champion. And so when you reach the pinnacle where you become world champion, that's where every fighter that's their goal, yeah, is
Hmm.
to reach become a world champion.
Wow.
Then you feel like you become a big target, uh, and everybody's gunning for you.
Yeah.
And so I feel like for me, it's harder to stay at the top than getting up there. I think getting up there is the easiest thing. Is easier than staying there
Yeah.
because now everybody puts up their best. Everybody wants to train the hardest. Everybody's like gunning for you and trying to knock you off the throne. And so it gives you that much more of a work for you to do for you to stay up there as a world champion.
Wow.
And that's a picture of me when I won the world title as an amateur,
Wow.
which I feel like is harder than winning Olympic gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, your over the past years, you said you had unified um, many of the titles. Tell us about what you're holding up here.
That's the super title, which is very rare. Um, WBA elevates you when you win and unify the world titles in one division. The WBA gives you it raises you up to super champion. So they give you a special belt which looks like this, and has super champion on it, and the one below you also gets elevated to regular champion. So they give you a special belt. It's called Super Champion belt, and it looks like that. And that's only if you unify world titles, meaning that out of the four, or there's four major sanctioning bodies that you put the titles together, or you unify the titles. I won that
Amazing,
one with the WBO.
amazing stuff here because
Yeah,
you held four world title.
yeah. IBF, WBC. The WBC was my first one. The IBF, WBO, then the WBA. The WBO, WBA, I unified, yeah, in two divisions. So
Yeah.
tough,
Wow.
tough thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'd only been in the game for how many years when that happened? Because you were pretty much straight out of high school, and so you were amateur for how long?
I was amateur since I was like 6 years old. Amateur till I turned 19. So for
Okay.
like 13 years, I was an amateur fighter. I was fighting. I won many state championships. I won Golden Gloves, national Golden Gloves for in New York. I won there's the list goes on. I won
Yeah,
the
yeah,
U.S.
yeah, yeah.
championship, the national championship. I was the national boxer of the year in '99 when I won the world championship in Houston, which I beat the '96 Olympic gold medalist for that, the Cuban. Which if you beat a Cuban in boxing, it's almost like you know beating a pro or a semi-pro.
Yeah, Cuba was uh, producing some
Yeah,
amazing
they're highly
boxers.
regarded. Yeah,
Yeah, in those
highly
days.
regarded fighters.
So how did you do this, man? Um, you you're traveling and all these interesting places. We love, us guys coming from the islands, we love our foods, man, and we're interested because all around us, even in Hawaii, we get all kind of ethnic food, man. Japanese, Korean, Chinese. You get Filipino food. You get Mexican food all over. Now you're traveling, and now you have an opportunity to experience all these foods wherever you're going, man. How did you experience all of that with those different
You
cuisines out there,
don't.
man? Yo, you don't.
So like you really don't. The reason is because you try to make weight and you try not to find yourself in restaurants a lot
Ah,
because it's tough to make weight. Especially in boxing, wrestlers, MMA fighters got to do it. They got to hit a certain weight. So the week you're there, you pretty much get enticed or get like this food waved in your face, like, oh, look at this great food. When you go to like, when you go to like the press conferences, right? So that you have like the meals on the side or the food. Like, man, holy, like I haven't eaten good food for like a weekend. You guys are like throwing this in my face, so it kind of gets you mean inside. You're like, oh, you want to rip people apart. So, but you really can't. I mean, I traveled a lot. I traveled everywhere in the world, and it was tough for me to like go down and sit in restaurants and get good meals because you gotta make weight. And
yeah.
when you make weight, you fight, and usually the next day you fly back home, and
You
then
see, you should have been a sumo wrestler, bro. If you was a
yeah,
sumo hey,
or be
right?
in a sport where you don't have to make weight.
Oh
You
yeah,
know
I
what I
don't have
mean?
to make weight.
Basketball player, football player,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe
But
tennis player, golf. I don't know, but it's tough. It's
yeah,
tough to be in a sport where you got to make weight, where that becomes part of the battle. Yeah, and then
yeah.
becoming and then trying to make weight because you go into great cities like New York and San Francisco and you go to Paris, things like that, where you like places where it's got great food, and you want to try some of these restaurants that you hear about in magazines or on TV, but like, oh, I wanna go, but I can't because I gotta make weight. Sometimes you sneak off. Sometimes you try to go underweight, before you even go to these
Oh
places, so you
yeah,
can
yeah.
kind of
You can kind of make
figure
up
it
for it.
out.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like my there's a few fights where I kind of had the chance to do that,
Hmm.
and go to Japan. Like, oh, I'm underweight. Good, I can go eat some of these ramen places or something.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Here's Marty Burns. He goes, "Did you ever know of a Samoan heavyweight fighter, Natu Visinia?"
not too. That sounds very very familiar,
Hmm.
Martin. I don't. It's very familiar. I can't put a face to it, but
The name sounds familiar.
um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah. Yeah.
familiar to me. Who's the last? Was he Tongan? There was another great heavyweight fighter, Samoan or Tongan.
Hmm. Um,
Um,
Marty
go ahead.
says, "My son boxed for a while. I remember him sparring a professional Sergio Mora, the Snake."
Yes, I know Sergio.
Oh,
I
really?
know Sergio. Friend of mine, yes, yeah, it's called the Snake. He's a commentator now. I think for the Zone.
Wow.
Believe it's the Zone. Yeah, DAZN, and he commentates a lot for the fights there too now.
Wow.
Which I met, I got to I ran into him a few times
Yeah.
on um some of my coaching as for my fighters and sat down with him. Great guy, great guy.
You know what? We're going to take a small kind break. And when we come
Shoots.
back, let's talk a little bit about your last fight, your last professional fight, your decision, um, and the comment you made that, and I'm going to quote you, that when the pilot light begins to flicker, that you would walk away from the game. Uh, let's talk about that and the choices that you've made since then and where you are today. I think a lot of our folks would like to know that. And if you just join us, we're talking to the Hawaiian Punch boxing great Brian Viloria, direct from Waipahu to North Hollywood right now. That's right. Okay, we'll be right back, you guys. Hang in there, yeah? Yes, indeed. Big shout out to all of the friends that have made programs like this possible on the Sandwich Island Social Network. And we want to share with you that in 2 weeks, coming up on the 20th of September, we're having Gary Haliamau, who lives in Las Vegas, originally from Kailua Kona. He's going to be our guest on the Aloha Friday show. So, September 20th, mark your calendars for a great conversation with Gary Haliamau from Las Vegas, originally from Kailua Kona. So there we go. We're back with Brian Viloria, and we know that your last fight, Brian, February 24th, 2018, and with a gentleman, Artem Dalakian.
Dalakian, yeah.
Dalakian, and that was quite a fight over here. Here's a picture of this. You look at this. What's going through your mind as you look at this picture here, Brian?
It's a lot of spit coming out of my mouth. It gets ugly in there sometimes, you know. My forehead got sliced open from an elbow, and the blood was just dripping into my eyes. I couldn't see after that. It was just like blurry vision.
Why didn't the referee call it? I mean, I was looking at that fight last night. Did he not see it?
Sometimes like the referees don't see it.
Wow.
I mean, yeah. I didn't know I was sliced open. I felt like a little thud, and then at first I thought it was sweat coming down, but then as soon as I looked at my glove, I saw the blood. I was like, oh, dude, I'm cut, and it was just going into my vision. It was blurry. I couldn't see for most of the time after that. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
But leading up to those type of fights, I think it was my last couple fights. It was different for me. It was different.
How so?
I didn't get nervous for those fights, especially my last one. I
Wow.
wasn't nervous. For me, that whole day felt like it was a regular day, and I knew after that I was like, I think the fire's gone. Um, I didn't have a sense of like not joy, but like nervousness or being afraid, which I always look as a good thing. When you're nervous, when you're afraid, when you're scared about the outcomes of things, you care about it so much, and your senses get heightened, right? Um, you see more, and it's almost like getting followed in the alley, and like you have your spidey senses in the back of your neck just popping up. I didn't get that in that fight.
Hmm.
I didn't feel I didn't feel excited, and I remember after that fight, I'm like, I think I'm done. I think that has been put out, and made my decision to hang the gloves up. I remember early in my career, I knew I was about to when I came across that bridge. I knew I was gonna cross that bridge. I knew hang it up. I didn't want to be one of those fighters who kept pushing, and then finding yourself getting giving your health up. For me, health was wealth, and at some points I could see the opening, but I couldn't get there fast enough. I was just a half second slow on the step, and so I felt like I wasn't reacting to those as quickly as I used to, and so I knew then it was time for me to hang the gloves up.
That is very, I mean, that's a gift, yeah, Brian. Some, as you've said, some athletes do not respond to that. They might see that, but they ignore it, and we've seen
Yeah.
that happen, right? Um, and
I take that Kamaka as more of an accomplishment for me, rather than all these world titles. To
hmm,
be able to speak to you like this, right,
hmm,
face to
hmm,
face,
hmm,
and because I have friends that slurs their speech, or pauses a lot, or are not audible. You don't really understand what they're saying,
wow,
and I'm like, wow, like some guys come out of the sport not intact, or and for me to come out of this sport and having to been doing this since I was 6 years old, I think is a big accomplishment for me to come out being able to still speak clearly, coherently, and be have some sort of understanding what's going on around me,
yeah,
and I take that as an accomplishment more so than the world titles that I won. And because boxing is not a game, I feel like boxing is a dangerous sport. The fighters die in that ring, and if you don't take it seriously, you don't prepare yourself correctly for fights, you could cost your life, and um, more so your health. I mean, health, I think for me is more important than chasing the extra dollar or chasing another world title. So
yeah, wow. You've accumulated a a lot of notes on how to prepare a boxer. You had were quoted as saying, "I want to be that source for fighters. I've given my life to the sport, and now I want to share my experience with other
yep,
athletes as well."
yep.
Um,
That's I think for me that's I think my passion now is to share for those that wants to seek the knowledge, the know-how, having somebody to be there in the corner to guide them to where they want to get to. I've made myself available for those type of fighters
mhm.
because I've gained so much from the sport, so much knowledge, so much experience, that for me, I think giving back to the ones that wants to reach where I've been at, and have somebody to guide them, I think that is my calling now. I think that excites me more than me stepping into the ring. Being on the other side of the corner or being on the other side of the ropes, I think is much more of my calling now than being in the ring. And yeah, whoever wants to listen, whoever wants to have me in the corner to guide them, I'm trying to make sure that I'll be there for them.
That is that's a beautiful thing. That really really is. The picture that I see right over here um, shows you now as a trainer, as a consultant.
Yep.
You've taken that next step and you've parlayed your experience. Bro, you should write a book. You know?
I want to. There's a lot more things outside of boxing too that I think I could share with people wanting to listen. Experience that I've gone through the sport. You know, like meeting Pacquiao for the first time in my life, when he first stepped into the gym, when nobody knew who he was, and seeing his upbringing and seeing him explode on the scene. A good friend of mine, and
So
just seeing him and his development.
here's a picture of you, and you know
With my big black eye.
these fanboys, yeah, these fanboys come up. They always want to be in a picture. They always want to be in a picture.
Yeah, that was me beating one of the pound for pound fighters. He was ranked 9, Giovanni Segura. He was fighting
Wow.
for my world title there,
Woo.
WBO. Pacquiao was commentating that fight. This fight was in the Philippines,
Oh, he
and
was
so
a
he came and watched me
commentator.
fight.
Wow.
Yeah, that fight was crazy because Segura, his name was Giovanni Segura. Segura was on a mean streak. He was knocking everybody out. He was top 10 pound for pound on everybody's list at one point. And, uh, everyone was writing me off in that fight. And then I knocked him out, broke his orbital bone.
Oh,
His face blew up.
oh,
Um, yeah, if you see a photo of that. And yeah, pretty much had to spend a couple weeks in the hospital out. And
oh my
that was right after that fight. We just pummeled each other, I think, for like 10 rounds. Just saw my shiner.
man.
Yeah.
Here's a great friend of mine, brother Dan Logronio, who he and I watched the Artemis fight last night, and we were both saying, "Hey, how did he get that cut? Did the referee say?" We were yelling at the screen as we were watching your fight.
An elbow. That was the
An
elbow. I got elbowed right in the head.
elbow, man.
I
So
know
that,
Dato Marino. Yeah, I used to go to his gym back in the Waipawa Recreation Center where the gym was located with Al Silva. He had all these greats, all these newspaper clippings and photos of greats. Dato Marino, Bobo Olsen, just like I said, Adi Ganigan, all those photos all over the wall. Of course, he had like Duran and Sugar Ray and all the other greats from all over the United States and all over the world. Alexis Arguello. Um, so I grew up looking at those photos, looking at the newspaper clippings, and idolizing them, and seeing how they reached the top and the pinnacle of the game. Um, I remember a few years ago, I was invited to go to the Boxing Hall of Fame and spent a weekend with Duran,
wow.
Sugar Ray Leonard, um, Marvin Hagler, rest his soul, he passed away, and it was, I think, Pernell Whitaker was there. So I got to, for like a whole weekend, I got to sit down with them, have breakfast, have dinner with them, and pick their brains. And I think for me, it was like one of the best being able to sit down with some of these great.
Yeah,
Hello?
we
Did I
yeah
lose you?
yeah we're getting just a little bit of a glitch. It happens every now and then. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
But anyways, as back to what I was saying, yeah, I sat down with them. I got to pick their brains a little bit and be able to figure out how they did certain move or do this and do that, and they shared their lives with me too, which was amazing.
yeah. um, Dan Logronio is talking about you. He goes, he speaks quite well, doesn't reflect any consequences of his boxing trade, and you had mentioned that you knew when that pilot light was flickering, that was time. That was time, and
It was a
uh,
hard decision to make. It was hard, one of the difficult, because it's like getting your identity ripped from you.
yeah,
You know, like you
yeah,
lose it. You spend all your life and you become this person that everybody knows. And Mike Tyson, I remember hearing it on an interview. Mike Tyson once said, "You just don't know who you are after that." You know,
hmm,
imagine spending 30 years, 35, 40 years of your life developing this persona of you, and all of a sudden that gets taken away. Then who are you after that? Who do you become after that? most athletes don't know what to do other than fighting, or for boxers, other than what they do. A lot of athletes go to depression because they don't know what to do with their lives after. So when we get to alcoholism, drugs, they turn to bad things to help mask away the pain or that sorrow that they have. So it's tough. It's a tough decision to make when I made the decision, but I promised myself before I even became a pro that when that flame goes out, I have to be honest with myself that protect your health, make sure that you got all your brain cells still left, and just be healthy, because that sport can take that away from you easily if you don't take care of yourself. Um, and most athletes don't know when to say when. And sometimes I see my friends still boxing, So when I hear guys like Tyson fighting Jake Paul at 60 years old, like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Is it the money?
It's the money, that drives, and also that ego, that I can do this. Marty Burns says, once again, it shows how sports are such a positive influence in young people's lives. Mahalo nui for mentorship to these young people, and that's where you're finding. That's where your heart is. That's where your passion is now. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I want to become a teacher. I want to become mentors for those that wants to walk that path that I walked through. I walked through it. I've been there. I've reached the pinnacle. I've reached the bottom. I reached both spectrum of what you can feel in the sport, or being an athlete. From losing world titles, knowing how that feels, to winning world titles and knowing how that feels, from the amateur level to the pro level. So why not use me, contact me, let me, teach you or make you understand that, how to navigate through these type of levels and the hardships that comes. And not even the hardships, the great lives too. I mean, people can always want to reach the top, but what happens? What if you get into a bad accident or a bad injury, and it gets easily taken away from you? What happens next? Because life has to go on after your sport, after your job, after your career. But finding who you are after is one of the toughest things you can do. But for me, I had to.
Words of wisdom, my friend. Words of wisdom there. Here's our talent coordinator for the show, Nate Jones. You've been communicating with Nate. He's going, mahalo for coming on to the show again, Brian. When I was with ESPN in Bristol, I met a lot of boxers who would come in to do analysis for the Friday night fights. Marvin Hagler, Joe Frazier, Bernard Hopkins, to name a few. So, yes, that's right. Nate used to work for ESPN. And
wow.
Doing a lot of the statistics. He was a statistics guy, man.
There was another Neil Everett was with ESPN.
Oh, I think that's he still keeps contact with Neil, if I'm not mistaken.
Neil. I said hello. I remember him in Hawaii before, and then he went to ESPN. I was like shocked to see him on ESPN. I'm like, whoa, Neil's on. It's amazing. It's great.
Yeah. Well, I want to show this, and then there's some comments over here because you're stepped out of the ring, and now you're on the other side of the ring. It said you traded your boxing gloves for mitts or for it.
Yep.
Let's watch this here, and then let's talk about this here.
Temecula boxing. Brian, where's Temecula?
Huh?
Where's Temecula?
Temecula is by Riverside. That's Riverside. Wine country.
But they have good boxers there.
Great wine. Great boxers, yeah.
What's your nephew's name?
Justin Viloria.
Justin? That's a long-time Hawaiian name. He's Hawaiian as well?
Yeah. Hawaiian is Mexican. His mom is Mexican from East Los.
So is he gonna fight like a Mexican?
We depends on what day, what kind of food he eats.
Pizza with, what is it? Pizza with pineapple.
He's a Mexican pizza guy though.
It's very good for you. It's very healthy actually. You could get all the pro. You don't have to eat meat if you eat that.
This is what I like about it.
It's good. That's fun.
Bro, how can you look at someone in the amateurs and say this kid will be a star, this kid will be a pro?
It's the style. I mean, the style, the way they pop with their punches. It's not normal for like an amateur fighter to be sitting down their punches already that early, because amateur it's all about the action, it's about letting your hands go. But he picks and chooses his shots, not like an amateur. He picks and chooses his shots like a pro fighter. That's why we think his style is more geared towards the pro style than the amateur style.
Yeah. The key is, though, not to rush his career. Take it slow. Take it slow. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
17.
That's crazy young. I thought he was 20.
Oh, no, he's sparring with Ryan Garcia.
Good, mother. Keep going. Work your cap. Come in.
So we're looking at a young man that is very close to you. This is your nephew, Justin Viloria. Tell us about Justin.
Justin's been boxing since he was a baby too, since he was 6. He's gonna be fighting in September, I believe, October. We're coming up really soon in Florida under the Tim Zoo card, and he's been working up the ladder really nicely. He's been fighting with PVC. He just turned 20 not so long ago, and being pitted up with some of the great fighters. Going to be shown on TV soon. Again, his last time it was on TV, which ended great. So he's coming up. He's one of the up and coming bright shining stars that's coming out of boxing right now.
And the beautiful thing, if he listens, is he can draw from you, your user experience, the wisdom, the outlook, and the balance, right, of not letting egos or all of your accolades blur your vision of where you want to be, and you're in a perfect position to do that.
What I love about him is that he loves God as well. He puts a lot of scriptures on his trunks, and spreads the gospel, and I think that keeps him humble. That keeps him down to earth, and being able to use the strength of God and the Spirit to help him and guide him through it. So the humility in him is amazing, and the hard work. He just works really hard. As from the kid, he knows what he wants, and he has the right resources, the right people behind him to guide him to where he needs to be at, or where he wants to be at. So I think if he just continues to focus on his craft, work hard, pray, I think he'll be able to reach the pinnacle that I've reached numerous times, and winning a world title again.
So, do you kind of see some of yourself in that young boxer as you're watching?
Of course, yes, yes. The tenacity, the just wanting it, just doing whatever it takes for him to reach that. And you have to know, you have to have a goal, know how to approach it, get the right people behind you, because even though boxing is a one-on-one sport, it takes a team. Sometimes it takes a town, it takes a city for you to reach that. Hawaii did it for me, when they did fundraisers and stuff to get me to go to the nationals. My family behind me. It's something that one person can't do it on their own.
Right.
But if you got the right people, the right type of support and backing, I think you can reach any goal that you set for yourself. And luckily Justin has that behind him. And that's why he's doing so well now in the pro leagues. And he'll go far. He'll go very far.
Nate Jones just popped in and says, yes, Neil and I are good friends. I'll tell him you said, how's it?
Thanks, Nate. Yes, tell him I say, how's it?
That's very cool. Talking about great places to go grind here. I tell you, we love our food here on our show. Uncle Marty says, did I hear you say Brian is his North Hollywood? If so, he definitely needs to visit Auntie Miley's for grind and
I
live
did.
local.
I did
You've been
many
there.
times. Yes, I went to Auntie Miley's.
We
Of
love.
course, but I gotta travel all the way down to Torrance for that one.
Yeah, it's in Torrance. It's
Yeah,
in
it's
Torrance.
Torrance.
But
So
Saturdays we hang out for music in the afternoon, and
let me
Bobby.
know when.
Ag-
Let me know when. I'll come join you guys one day.
that would be wonderful because Bobby Agnew, who was on earlier talking about the chickens and the chicken fight, he's a musician that plays there on Saturday. So we go down and hang out. So we'll be in touch. We'll make that happen.
Yes,
You know.
please. I would love to go have some grinds out there in Auntie Miley's again, and yeah, listen to some music.
Yeah, good people. The owners, Kai and Junko, his wife, they're so sweet. They're wonderful people, and the community really support. And great food too. Great Ono.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Torrance is like the 10th island.
Yeah. Yeah.
Around Torrance and Carson. Everybody
Exactly.
there's from-
Torrance, Carson, Gardena, Garden Grove, all over there. It's all
It's
on there.
crazy how you can find all these little pockets of Hawaii community now, all
Yeah.
over like California, Nevada, even Seattle. Up in like Washington State.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
'Cause, sadly, it's been so expensive to live in the islands now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
gas
Um,
prices, all
um,
food.
So my goodness, what a fun conversation, Brian. Our time together is coming to a close over here. You're so kind to accept our invitation to come and talk story a
course.
little bit.
Of course.
It's been
It's
fun.
always important these podcasts and stuff, and I hope you grow your channel and your
Thank you.
platform bigger. You deserve it. I enjoy these type of sit downs, and
Mahalo.
should send you some names out there. Like you should get
Yes.
Jerome Williams on.
You gave me Jerome Williams. I'm definitely Nate Jones, Jerome Williams. Brian said check him out.
Right, Pahu boy, too. Hawaii boy.
Another
Play for the
whole
Phillies. Yeah,
baseball player. I'm loving it. Oh my goodness.
and then my light turns off. Look at
Yeah. Marty
it's on
says,
time right now. So if I don't move around, a lot,
that's it. You gotta, yeah. That's a boxer, man. You gotta keep moving and, yeah. Marty says, awesome interview. Mahalo, Brian and Kamaka. Everyone's signing in to give theirs. And
Hello.
Sihanda says, hey, mahalo, Brian. Thanks for your time and thoughts. So nice.
Thank you,
And Brian,
guys.
we're gonna wait for that book to come out, or for the Brian Viloria story to come out on Netflix, bro.
Just waiting for guys. A lot of people are gonna be thrown under the bus, so I gotta wait for you guys.
And Nate
A lot
says,
of like,
well,
gotta get a
you can say the names have been changed to protect the innocent, So,
yeah, true.
yeah. And you can say it's based on a true story. You don't have to say it's a true story. It's
But
based.
everybody gonna know who the promoter is. Can't hide Bob Arum's name.
Nate says I'll get Jerome's info from you, so he'll be in touch over there. Oh my goodness, how fun! Nate says I'm still working on Colton Wong and Shane Victorino. Reaching out
When
to
you're
those
done with
guys.
that, then I'll send you out.
Nice. All right, man. What a fun time with you, sir. I totally appreciate that.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for joining us. And wait, our music will start in a second. There it is. I gotta fire that tip guy. All right, Brian. Thanks so much for joining us, man. Aloha. Speak to you later, brother.
Get it.
Get it.